Hey everybody, it's Emily the Crazy Worm Lady. I have come to you today with our Worm Factory 360. Check out those mites and springtails. They are all over this newspaper that I have covering the top. So I'm thinking I'm just going to pull this out and replace it with something new. Try to get a few of these bugs out of here. Of course, they're not doing any harm, but they're an eyesore and a nuisance, so I just took them out of there. So over here was where we had our coffee grounds, and let's see if the worms have moved into it at all. And yes, in fact, they have. These look like some carrot pieces that I had thrown in here as well. It's still crawling with the springtails, but looks like they're doing a great job of the food that we have, so I really shouldn't complain a whole lot. I'm sure soon enough the springtail population will go down and something else will go up. It's just all part of the kind of beautiful ecosystem that you develop inside your worm bin. So I'm relatively pleased with how this is going. The worms look healthy. The bugs are not slowing them down at all. So I think I'll probably add more bedding and more food today. Okay, so I want to get these worms fed up. I actually filmed the first part of this video yesterday and realized I didn't have any food defrosted. So, you know, as you can see, there's still a lot of springtails and all, but I still want to feed this bin because it's getting pretty full. I think I'll be able to add a tray soon. So I want to put a little bit of food and a little bit more bedding in it, and it may end up being our last feeding of this tray before I add a new one. I'm not quite sure. There's still a decent amount of space left to fill up. But I have this bag. Actually, it was not frozen, but I forgot about it. I have it next to my coffee maker. And in it right now is some leftover vegetables from some stock that we made, some vegetable stock, as well as a lot of coffee. So, I'm going to add a good bit of this. Try to get some of this coffee out of here, because they like the coffee. Looks like there's some apple peelings as well. My freezer space is getting taken up by worm food, so not everything now is going into my freezer. Some of it sits in bags on the counter. So we're going to use this front of the tray for feeding, and I want to leave this back section empty just in case there's anything a little too acidic for them. So I'm just going to roll some of this over the top because since it wasn't frozen, if there's any sort of fruit fly, eggs, or anything like that, if it's covered, be less likely to get an outbreak of fruit flies. And then since I'm emptying out this back corner, I'm going to load up the other side of the tray with some dry bedding. And we'll see what it looks like next week, whether or not we want to add a new tray or not. Because as you see, I'm all the way down to the bottom when I get this covered up. But there's still even a little bit of space close to the top up front here. So let's load down a little bit of bedding in here, and I will sprinkle some eggshells, and that will be our update for this week. Okay, so people often ask, is white office paper okay to put into their worm bins? And I believe it is. Some people are concerned about the bleach in it. but it's never really been a concern for me. And I have this big bag that a friend gave me of her shredded junk mail. So I'm going to fill this side up with that. There are some windows from bills and stuff in here, and they obviously won't break down because they're like that plastic material, but I don't really mind picking that out at the end. So personally, it doesn't really bother me. I just leave it, and once everything is broken down, it's pretty easy just to pull that stuff out. So I'm going to load this back side up pretty good with this white office paper. And I'm just going to sprinkle some water over the top because it is completely dry. But I'm not going to water it too much because the food and coffee grounds that I put in here are definitely pretty wet. So this will absorb some of that moisture as well. This is my jug that I use to water without dumping, because you want to make sure you don't add too much water at any given time. So I'm going to leave it just like that. Our food scraps are covered. So I'm just going to throw the lid on here, and we will come back next week with an update. Hope you guys have a great night, and drop those comments below.